Keep filming.
Close that all the way. There you go.
I'm so
You
glad
stand
you
on
came.
the fuel line. Look down.
You know, it's like, oh,
I'm sorry.
Something doesn't look right.
Want to do the parking lot with all the Saleens out there?
sure, go ahead.
Like within the last I just saw it.
Derek, when Steve goes up, you have to be on the side to give him the jackets. He's gonna probably set up by the yeah, the desk. And because we're going to start talking on the mic. How does that look? Have you gone on Facebook for that?
Somebody asked me, I want to see the whole thing.
Somebody asked you that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at you. You're making a mess. Keep it one group.
I'm gonna keep it.
There you go, look.
Well, if I ever sell those, I'll sell it to you. But I don't. That's the part I bought from looked at the C10s, the SCs. He had them already. That's my name. Well, he got it.
Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for your attention. I am William Smallwood. I am Vice President of Mustangs Northwest. We're pretty excited about what's happening tonight because tonight is basically a great segue right into our Mustang Roundup week. And this is a great way to kick it off with a special unveiling tonight. I really appreciate you all coming out tonight. Before we bring up our special guest, I wanted to just remind everybody about what's happening after today, tomorrow. We have a ride and drive track event at Pacific Raceways in Kent. I know Steve and the crew will have some cars down there to give the press rides and get us all that are down there a chance to check that out on the track. So that's pretty exciting. It's been a while since Steve's been on the track here, so if you haven't seen him on the track, it's fun to see. So that is something that's open to the public that you want to come on down. And then on Friday, we're doing a Pony Trail poker run. It's actually the 20th anniversary of Pony Trails for us. And you're going to have a fun little, it's about a 3.5, 4-hour drive. And I can tell you it starts at 12 noon at the Bellevue College if you're interested. And it can be a Mustang, it could be a Ford vehicle, it's there to have fun. So, and we're going to end at the host hotel, and we're hoping to have like a little fun get together in the parking lot. So, and then we go into Saturday is the MCA Judge Show. That's for the Concours cars and all that. That is free to the public that wants to come. I know there's about 55 cars that are getting judged, and it's pretty amazing how nice some of those cars are. So, and then Saturday night, we have a very special tour of a special Shelby collection, the John Atzbach collection. And if you're interested in that, we still have room on the bus if you're interested. It's a world-class collection, I think, and it's right in our back door. It's a great opportunity to see a very rare opportunity to see a great collection. So, And then Sunday is the big show that we're known for, the Mustang Roundup and All Ford Picnic. We're hoping to have 1,000 cars there. And the weather looks like it's going to hold, and hopefully it doesn't get too hot. But let's hope for a good trip. So anyways, hope you're all enjoying your evening so far, and I just wanted to introduce at this time Amy Boylan. She's the president and COO of Saleen Automotive.
Well, hi everybody. I'm glad to be here. So I am the new president of Saleen Automotive, and I'm very excited. This will be my first unveil since joining Steve and the team. You know, my past history, I was president of Shelby, and there's a lot of similarities. There's a racing heritage, and there's a lot of histories that are very similar. But there's some new and exciting things being here at Saleen, so I'm looking forward to it. First, I want to thank Bill Smallwood for helping us get this all together and making us part of his big event. And I want to thank Jason and Luke, who run Bill Pierre Ford. Also, I want to thank Shane Pierre. They are part of Steve's history, and they welcomed us with open arms to unveil our new vehicles here. And last but not least, I really want to thank my team back in Corona. Some of them are here, but they really did a great job on these two cars. And when you see them, I hope you appreciate all the work that went into them. So without further ado, as they say, Steve Saleen.
Thank you, Amy. And obviously it's great to be here. This is an exciting time for both the Saleen family and myself. I will make a little comment on Amy in the fact that, yeah, she worked at Mattel doing Barbie first, then she finally found religion and switched over to the Hot Wheels side of life and realized cars were much better and fun to work with as well. And then she went to work for Shelby, and then after the stint there, I feel that was just barely ready now to join us to do that. So we're very happy to have her as part of the team here as we move forward. And tonight is actually the purpose of tonight is we are going to show two models, and it's not, you know, in doing cars, you don't just do a new model every day. This particular is really, this year marks our 30th anniversary of winning our first race championship with ourselves and Ford Motor Company with the Saleen Mustangs back in 1987. And what we felt we wanted to do was a commemorative edition for that. And in doing that, we thought rather than do one, we would actually do two different models that we will unveil here tonight. And normally in these situations, the people that know me, I would have my wife Liz would be up here as well. She has been by my side through this whole, since the day we started with the company back over, you know, almost 40 years ago. And and then my daughter Molly. However, in introducing the two models tonight, we actually, and I was trying to coordinate this, we actually will be introducing a third new model here within the next week. I don't know which day that's going to be, but in addition to the two new models, we actually have my daughter Molly is pregnant, and the new model from her will be out sometime this next week. And so we as a family are very excited. She was concerned that I could even get time up, but her and Liz are on really baby watch now, so any day that could happen, and we'll certainly be excited to share that moment with you. We had the other thing I will say is that we had a we did a gender reveal a few months ago as it was a boy or a girl, and we had over 100,000 people watch the reveal it's amazing what gets done on the web now. And we had a blue Saleen Mustang, and we had the Molly Pop pink Saleen Mustang, and whichever car started was telling you if it's a boy or a girl. In our case, or in Molly's case, the pink car started, so we're looking for a baby girl here, and that'll be sometime this coming week. So anyway, and we're really excited about that. But as far as tonight, we couldn't think of a better time or a better place to actually do this as a kickoff event here with the Mustangs Northwest. You have tens of thousands of people and thousands of Mustangs, and we felt the appropriate place to actually debut both the street and the track car that you will see couldn't be any better than to do it here. And also in conjunction with Bill Pierre Ford. And a lot of people don't know, but Bill Pierre Ford was one of our first dealers that we had signed when I started this program back in the 1980s. And I was talking to Shane and his family tonight, and it was funny in the respect that the thing that he was just starting really in the dealerships on this. I actually started the company when I was 3 years old, so 30 years isn't that much for me. But we are great to be back here. They're one of our best dealers, and certainly excited to do that. In conjunction with that, too, as it turns out, is that we also have one of the cars that we brought here is the yellow, white, and black, which was our paint scheme. This actually is the car that we won the championship in 1987. And the gentleman that owns the car is here with us, Dave Frezza. And Dave, can you stand up wherever you're at? There. And I want to thank you for bringing the car. Dave also ran a number of races as, if you will, the fourth Saleen Mustang that competed that year to help us win the championship. And I especially want to thank him for blocking that Porsche in turn 2 on the 5th lap there to make sure I could get around it. So that worked out well. And so again, thank you, Dave, for joining us tonight. So the what we have prepared here a little bit is, a lot of you weren't around then, but we have a short video that we will play here if we can dim the lights, or half the lights, if we can get that done. But we have a short video that kind of documents that 1987 series here. And it was shot, it wasn't edited here. This was actually shot 30 years ago. So it is a little bit grainy. I feel that all the drivers, especially myself, haven't changed a bit. And but you guys can be the judge of that. But we will play here the video here of us, and the title of it is Being First. So with that, I'll let the video start, and then we'll go from there.
In the forefront of all the proving grounds for production sports cars, there is a marathon battlefield where stamina, reflex, power, and instinct are pushed to the limit. It is the SCCA Escort Endurance Series, the endurance series for showroom stock. Strict on modifications, roll cage and other safety equipment, shocks and tires only. The top contenders: Chevrolet, Porsche, Pontiac, Toyota, Nissan. And in 1986, entered the Ford Saleen Mustang. Steve Saleen teams up with Rick Titus, technical editor of Motor Trend. His father, Jerry Titus, winner of the Manufacturers Driving Championship 1967 in a Shelby Mustang. Now, a generation later, Steve Saleen, Rick Titus, team and technology begin a record of firsts for Ford and in the series history. Year 1, a triumphant victory in 24 grueling hours at Mosport, Canada. The first Pro Category win for Ford and General Tire in showroom stock. For the season, the Saleen team takes second place overall. Pole position 50% of the time, leading more laps than any other team. The only team to place third or better in every race. For the series, not bad. But for Saleen, not good enough. The 87 season opens at Sears Point Raceway, San Francisco. And the Saleen teams are back with only one objective, taking it all. With a formidable new look and an improved version of the Saleen Mustang, including four-wheel disc brakes, more horsepower, better aerodynamics. In the 19 car, Saleen and Titus. In number 20, international driver Desiree Wilson, the only woman ever to win a Formula One race in England. And from the winning Saleen team at Mosport in '86, Lisa Caceres, Bondurant instructor, Hollywood stunt driver. In the 6 hours at Sears Point, Wilson and Caceres make series history. The first all-woman team to take pole position and win. Moments later, Saleen and Titus take number 19, seriously damaged in qualifying and rebuilt overnight to a remarkable third-place finish. In up-and-coming races, Saleen and Titus will go on to win at Portland. Mechanical gremlins will mean 5th and 6th place at Brainerd. But there will be no question as the Saleen teams return to Mosport, Canada. Back in full force at Mosport, Saleen brings in further reinforcements. A third car, number 9, for protection during nighttime combat. Plus 2 winning Trans Am drivers. From his victory in Connecticut, Pete Halsman, and champion Scott Pruitt, flown in from the race at Watkins Glen that same day. The 24-hour battle begins. This time, number 45, Porsche's top team of Rick Hurst, takes pole position and jumps to an early lead. This, however, is no ordinary race. It is a supreme, almost cruel test of equipment, drivers, and crew. The perfect place for Saleen to prove his Mustang is for real. After 4 hours of door-handle to door-handle racing, Saleen tracks down the Hurst Porsche and establishes the lead. Already the day is over for some of the hottest contenders. A stark reminder that one mistake in 24 hours can be your last. Strategy must not be forgotten. Night falls, and the Mustangs hold their ground. But with morning comes driving rain, adding another twist to the test. Still, the Mustangs on General XB 2000Vs stay right where they want to be, in the lead, and go on to win Mosport for the second year in a row. The drive for being first continues with yet another Saleen victory at Road Atlanta, a 1-2 finish for the 19 and 20 cars. And on to the season's second 24-hour race at Mid-Ohio, where racing legends Carnelli Jones and George Fulmer joined forces with the Saleen team. At the finish, Porsche's first team will edge out Saleen, but the Mustangs forge an impressive second, third, and fourth place finish. Now, everything, 4 championship titles, will ride on Saleen's performance against Hurst in a season showdown at Sebring, Florida. Sebring arrives, and Porsche rolls in 11 teams, including Hurst, to defend its SCCA dynasty. Once again, Saleen captures pole position, and the Mustangs begin to pull away from the pack. In only 6 hours, everything will be decided. There will be no margin for error. But considering the punishing season these cars have endured, it will be a long 6 hours. After only 2 hours, the Hurst Porsche will take no more and drop out. With the final hour closing in, the number 19 Saleen Mustang is forced into the pit with a rear axle problem. Seconds count. But the Saleen crew gives a sterling performance, and Titus roars back onto the track. Saleen and team watch anxiously as Titus makes up lap after lap and repeats his late father's performance of 20 years ago. Saleen and Titus tie for the Drivers' Championship. And in the number 20 Mustang, Desiree Wilson wins the race in the last turn, beating Porsche at its own game, taking the coveted Manufacturers' Championship for Ford. The Team Championship plus the Tire Manufacturers' Championship for General round out the ultimate victory for the Saleen team.
Once again, General Tire builds the best tire. Ford Motor Company builds the best cars. I also want to thank for all the support from Montgomery.
It is a unification of true champions. Saleen, Ford, General Tire, and co-sponsors Montgomery Ward, Monroe Formula GP Shops, Team 1 Ford, TRW, Motorcraft, American Racing Equipment, and Hunter Engineering, to whom being first is all there is. And now, proving in the world of production sports cars that being first takes being the best.
So it's reliving that season was that was the short version of it. After we do the next part here with some of the drivers, I'll give you a little bit more in depth of one particular race. But the other thing too that I wanted to point out is that obviously we have journalists follow us all the time as well, and we're fortunate tonight to have one of the main journalists was heavy into the Mustang books and is one of the main voices, I think, in the Mustang community. He was there that night photographing our win and interviewing. That's Donald Farr, and he's here tonight. Donald, where are you? You're taking pictures. There he is. So he can, the stories that you'll hear tonight, he can either vouch for them or say, they were, what. But I think he'll vouch for most of the stories. And I would like to say that, I did it all by myself, and I will, in private, I will tell you that, or public, I will tell you that, but in private, no. It's, it takes a big team effort. We had a great team of mechanics and a lot of engineers, the strategists that we had in running 24-hour races and running 3 or 4 cars at a time, the organization that you have to do just to keep crew and drivers fed is unbelievable. But it still comes down to the drivers, and the drivers have got to perform under a lot of pressure, under a lot of being tired. A lot of times the cars are not working mechanically correct, and they have to drive through it until we either figure out how to fix it on the next pit stop or what we have to do to do that. And it was without the drivers that certainly everyone contributed that year to the championship. And I'm fortunate to have is that we have most of the drivers that back in 1987 are with us here tonight. And I want to take this time to introduce them one at a time as part of the Saleen team. And you saw them all on the video, and I'm sure you'll say that they all look the same as with that, I would like then to start having the drivers, and I'll introduce them one at one. The first one, and we'll start with the ladies first, is I would ask Lisa Caceres to come up. And Lisa, I have known for a long time. She was running a karting school, and in fact, she still is running her own karting school. We ended up, I think, trying you out, and you know, from my standpoint, I remember at the time I thought, I didn't think a girl could actually be that fast, but boy, I was proved wrong. And since then, I've really come to understand that things were needed to be done, and I could count on Lisa to get it done. So Lisa, we want to thank you for joining us here, and we do have, for all the drivers, we have a little present for them honoring the 30th anniversary. And I'll have Amy come in. We have a commemorative jacket, a leather jacket showing that 30 years that we have with their name on it. It's an honor to have you as part of the team. So, and we may put the old team back together. So yeah, and these are all your original sizes. So that's pretty good. So that is amazing. But so anyway, so I'll ask you to stand here. The next driver I would like to introduce was Lisa's partner on this. That we kind of had a boys' car, and we sort of had a girls' car, and then we had kind of a celebrity. Well, I'm not sure what we would call the other car, but and the other partner here that drove with Lisa is Desiree Wilson. Desi, can you come on up here? And the story here with Desi is that and I knew she was fast because she had driven. I had watched her drive Indy cars. I think the year or two before, we hired her as part of our team on doing that, and I'm going, wow, you know, she can really drive those cars pretty good. And then when she joined us, she was telling me, then when I realized what they said in the video too, they said that she's the only woman to ever win a Formula One race, a Formula One Grand Prix. And well, if a Formula One, yeah. And and I go, yeah, right. But you know, you look it up and you go, yeah, it's correct. And after our racing seasons, not too many years ago, when we were doing the Ford GT program, we had to go over to England, and we were doing some testing on the racetracks in England with the Ford GT, and this is with the SVT group. And in doing that, one of the test tracks we went to was Brands Hatch, which was, I had not been to Brands Hatch. I'd been to Silverstone, but never to Brands Hatch on this, and that's where Desiree said, oh, I won there, and I go, okay. And so I remember we drove into it, and lo and behold, they have this gigantic grandstand to this day that says the Desiree Wilson grandstand and winning the Formula One event. So it had to be true. So, but to have her as part of the team with us was unbelievable, and it's an honor to have both of these girls back together again after all of these years, and I'm sure they haven't lost a bit in their stride at all. So, and obviously the jacket fits you too. So this is a good test on doing that. Next, we had our kind of a celebrity, but we also had, we wanted to honor some of the other racers, and then we thought, you know, to add a little bit of spice and see if they could still do the job on this, we decided that we would see if a pair that had been very successful in the late 1960s and in the 70s driving certain Boss 302 Mustangs for Ford, we thought we'd see if they still had it and could put it together again. And we were fortunate enough to get hooked up with Parnelli Jones, and lo and behold, he agreed to drive for us. And so Parnelli, as you saw, was one of our main drivers there. Unfortunately, Parnelli couldn't make it tonight because he can't travel much with his back. And so, so with that, we created a jacket for him, and we'll make sure we get it to him. But his other partner on this doesn't live all that far away. In fact, he lives, his main residence, I think, is in Idaho. And truth be known, he was always faster than Parnelli anyway. At least he'll tell you that. And So we had George Fulmer. George, can you join us? And I cannot think of a greater honor than to be a teammate with George. He was unbelievable. He was so good in the Mustangs that we also ran the Ford Ranger pickup trucks, and we also picked him as one of my teammates on the Ford Ranger pickup trucks that we won, and did very well with, and won the championship. There's one particular race at Pocono that I won't talk about because I never got over George. But other than that, it was great experience with it. And as you know, George has gone on to drive everything from Porsches, Can-Am, Formula cars, and everything. And it was just a great honor to have him part of the team in that year that we won the championship. And when we're done, and I talk a little bit about us winning the championship, he was absolutely saved some people from being killed later that night, and I'll get to that story a little bit later. The last person, though, is the one that I was kind of saved for last, and that is that Rick, you want to join us? Is Rick Titus. Rick was my partner in the number 19 car, and initially, I will say this, initially we hired him, wasn't just for his good looks on this deal, but he was also one of the main editors at Motor Trend, and I thought, well, we need to document this series. Who knew that he could actually drive a race car as well? And so that was like a great plus on doing it. And we went on to win the championship, and as the race showed, is that after the car broke down, maybe Derek, can we kill the light here? He was able to get it back and unlap us that to make sure that that we won the championship. And again, I want to thank Rick. It's been many years since we've actually seen this group, but this group is the first time, I would say the first time we've been together in 30 years. So it's the fact that we're still all alive is remarkable, but let alone the fact that we're still talking about it as well.
We're waiting for George's parole, and so once they let him go, we said, hey, we can do this now.
Which gets to, and this is part of the you know, a lot of times you listen to all racing stories, and again, you saw the film, so you know that if it's on film, it must be true and what have you. But the night that we won the championship was not a normal race for us through the whole year. It came down to a remarkable chain of events, and I will give you my version, and then after we're done tonight, all of you are welcome to go individually and hear their version of it as well. But first of all, we went into the last race, and we had to have a number of Saleen Mustangs so that we could even win the championship for the manufacturer standpoint. That was the most important aspect for me as we were trying to build the Saleen Automotive and start showing our cars were the best. And in doing that, so we had a number of cars that we entered, and I thought we would be in great shape, but Porsche also wanted to win the championship that night. So they entered, as I mentioned, almost a dozen extra Porsches to make sure that we would not win the championship that night. And as it turned out, it was Sebring. It was a long race. It went from daylight into pitch black in that evening, and it actually happened to be on Halloween night of all nights. This was a trick-or-treat type of an event. We qualified very well with the car. We were on pole, as I recall, and then we took off, and we thought things were under control. And the race kind of progressed, and we thought, well, okay, we have it. One of the Porsches dropped out, and then we were feeling pretty good. And then one of the Achilles heels that we had with the Mustangs was that the rear end, the differentials, were not always up for durability. Speed, yes, durability wasn't necessarily what they were known for. And about halfway through the race, we started smelling smoke from the differential, and it got worse. Then Rick brought it in. I remember getting into the car going, and I was pretty upset. At that, I went around and you know, was driving the heck out of it. I was expecting the rear end to break at any given point in time. But it held up, but the smoke started filling in the car while I was going around, and I kept radioing to the team going, guys, this is not going to last. We have too much of the race here, and I can just tell you by the amount of the smell, but also the amount of smoke that was filling the cockpit, that things were burning up pretty severe in the rear of the car. And we finally got to the end of my fuel stint, and I came in, and the one clip you see me kind of go like this is when I had just gotten out of the car and slammed the door. But as it turned out, I came down pit lane, I got to the pit right before our pit, and that's when the rear end froze, solid, could not move whatsoever. And as the video alluded to, is that the team jumped in, put it up on jack stands in pit lane, and started taking the complete rear end out during the race and putting it back in. But we lost so much time, there was no way we're going to win this race. The Porsche, we were watching the Porsche go up, and what was critical was the number 19 car. We had to finish 6th or better to win the championship. We didn't have to win the race, we just had to get 6th or better. But because we were in the pit so long, we were unable, and we went down the order here with all the cars running. Then we finally got it back together again, and we put Rick back in it to try to make up the time. But we were calculating, during the race, we were calculating where everybody was in position. And we were not in 6th spot, we were in 7th spot. And we looked at the cars, and I had the girls' cars were up towards the front. They weren't winning, but they were up in the front. But Parnelli and George, they were actually in 6th spot. And we go, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to pull Parnelli in and park the car so we can unlap ourselves with the 19 car to get ahead to finish 6th for the race, which would ensure us to win the championship. Well, that was a great plan. If people that know Parnelli, we've called Parnelli up, you know, on the phone. No, it was on our communication with the car, and we told Parnelli that he needed to pit. So either, and it's not been proven to this day, but either what Parnelli says is that he never got his headset plugged in to the car, but somehow we feel he just ignored the fact that he was going to come in. And we were running out of time and laps as they kept going down, and as we got closer to the checkered flag. And then we realized, okay, he can't hear us, so we started putting out pit boards to bring him in. He ignored those. So then we came up with a great idea, is that we will get the sanctioning body to black flag him. He's got to pit. When he sees the black flag, that you're required as a driver to come in and see what's wrong with either your driving or with the car. We black flagged Parnelli. He ignored all of that as well. And now we're getting into a real critical point in the time of the race where there's only a few laps on this, and it is pitch black at night. We are in total darkness, and we are trying to get in touch with him. I was able to get through friends and acquaintance. We got a gigantic billboard. We were running Parnelli pit, and I lit up, I got so many flashlights and other auxiliary lighting that we were able, and I literally remember running almost out to the edge of the track to hit him on this deal and lit this up when he came around, because he went ahead. If he didn't pit on this lap, we would not have enough lap time left in the race to unlap. Rick wouldn't have enough time to unlap ourselves to finish in 6th spot if Parnelli didn't come in. And I remember running so close to the track to get him to come in, and we came back and I said, yeah, I think he saw it, and I think he knows that we need him to stop. And And so we had our fingers crossed, and lo and behold, we're watching him go down the back straight. You come through the corner, and then you either come in the pit lane or you're going to do another lap. Fortunately, he must have seen that because he then entered pit lane. Then we realized, holy cow, we have another problem, is that our pits are down at the end of pit out, which means he has to cross the start-finish line to get to our pits. And I remember talking to one of our team managers, Howard, and I said, I don't care what you have to do, you need to run down pit lane before he crosses that start-finish line, and you have to stop him. I don't care what you do. And so Howard goes, okay, and Howard runs down pit lane on this, as Parnelli's coming down, going, what the heck's going on this deal? And Howard did the only thing he could possibly do to stop him, and that is he threw himself literally on the hood of the car and crashed into the windshield. At that point in time, Parnelli did stop. And the irony is, where he stopped was actually in the Porsche pit of the team that we had to beat to win the championship, and they were watching this whole thing unfold, and we then sent down George to explain to Parnelli what actually was taking place, because we knew he had not a clue, and he thought that he had killed somebody, and we needed to make sure that you know, he was okay, and he took one for the team so that we could win the championship. And then we came down to the last lap, and after all of this drama took place on trying to make sure the 19 car got in a 6th position, we realized that Desiree, with the speed she was carrying, if she got in front of the Porsche that was in front of her, we would actually end up winning the race. And we then talked to her and said, that Porsche in front of you is for the race win. And down the back straight, literally in the last corner, she dove inside the Porsche and drag raced him across the finish line to actually end up winning the race. And everyone that was involved with us that night, I will tell you, it has been scarred from that evening. Is that you cannot appreciate or know the electricity that we had in our pits, trying to win not only the race but the championship. And so, as the video is, we were victorious. But boy, I'll tell you, it took years off of my life for sure on trying to orchestrate that. But I am very appreciative to this group here of the best drivers in the world. I'm sure they all can drive. Some of us will be out at the track giving rides tomorrow, and we are really excited about seeing them again. Their contribution. Who knew that we would go on and sell tens of thousands of Saleen Mustangs really from that win, and enable us to continue and to this day still producing our vehicles. And really a lot of it goes to this crew up here for helping myself and winning that first championship. See, they haven't changed a bit. They all want money. So I'm glad to see that. So with that though, in winning that championship and coming, is you always look at, wow, that was 30 years ago, and it was a hard fought, but it was very instrumental for the company with Saleen Automotive. And we then wanted to come out and commemorate that with a special edition vehicle. And we thought that it would be appropriate to have both a street and a track version, and we wanted to carry something new, but something old, something borrowed, but nothing blue. In doing that. So what I would like now is everyone, I know you're comfortable, is if I could get you to relocate, and we'll stand around the covered cars and put down cars.
This.
So here is the main attraction tonight. I'm going to ask the drivers if I could have the girls stand by the white cover, and I'll ask the gentleman to stand over here by the black cover. I will cue you when I want you to lift the covers. So this represents, this is a salute in commemorative to our championship winning cars. With that, we will undo the white car first. I'll have the girls pull it back, and you can look at our street version of our championship winning car.
Wow.
As you notice, that it is very similar in yellow, white, and black from the race trim that carries our heritage. For that, we have addressed all of the components that makes these cars so special and performing at such a high level. And that is, from the engine standpoint, we have a brand new 3.2 liter supercharger on it, which is different than what we've been using, to add a little bit more bottom end and a little bit more boost when you need to have it. It puts out 730 horsepower in normal trim on 91 California octane fuel. I've also reintroduced, which we had back then, known as our racecraft suspension. And I have a lot of the componentry now is standard on this car, including the adjustable coilover shocks, different type of bushings, some chassis straightening or strengthening as well. On the interior, we have done, again, with white and yellow and black interior. This also has the short throw shifter that we put in, and a lot of preacher appointments. It's certainly much easier to drive than the cars were back in the 80s, and it's a lot faster. But more importantly, too, that we have, and as you saw before, was our relationship with General Tire. You saw that back in the 80s, we were one of the first teams to take and start racing and promoting General Tire as our vehicle. Well, I am pleased to announce that this is the first that you see with the new General Tires are coming back into performance vehicles. And we are very honored tonight that we have Tony Calvert from General Tire. Tony, do you want to raise your hand here? So we are now introducing a brand new General Tire to the performance vehicle again. And we are honored both as a company and as the vehicle to be part of that heritage, but also part of the new technology that is coming forward with that. And all of this, again, is built off of our what we call our black label with the complete aerodynamics. We have brand new front fenders, very lightweight front fenders that have added a new dimension to that you haven't seen before from us. And all of this is an anniversary. When you look at the whole amount, is the suggested retail price of this vehicle out of a dealership, especially if you had an inclination tonight from Bill Pierre Ford, is $87,000 for 730 horsepower with this amount. And again, it ties in a little bit with 1987, but it's so that is. But you cannot find a better value for the horsepower, the uniqueness, and we're only building 30 of these vehicles. So then, but not to stop there, we decided, for the first time, even though we've had full-on race cars, we've never really done kind of a track car that a person could actually buy and take it into competition or to a weekend event. And so, for our first time, gentlemen, I will have you unveil its brother car, which is the track version of literally the same car. What's different about this, though, is that this has a little bit more cooling in a different type of radiator and oil coolers that we have put into it. This has the racecraft suspension, but we have added what we call the R-code to it. The R-code has camber caster plates, more body stiffening, different type of bushings, and a lot more on the rear end stabilizing type of locating bars as well. The interior is 100% race. It has pure racing bucket seats. It has, for lightweight, it has a back seat delete, and it has a full roll bar, approved roll bar for competition. And then also, I would say that it comes complete with a competition rear wing to balance the front to the back so that you can really take high-speed corners with it. And then we also have added a whole different level of braking. We have both 6-piston caliper brake on the front, but we've also added, because this is the first year or the first car from Ford with the independent rear, we can have a lot more braking on the rear. And these, one of the first that you will see was 6-piston rear calipers on the vehicle as well, to make sure that it will stop literally on a dime and give you 9.5 cents in change when you're trying to pass whatever car that you would have. The in addition to that is that the price on the track version on this, the wing, I think we get more downforce, but I also think it looks a little bit better on the vehicle as well. And to put that in context is that the Porsche version of it sells for $298,000, which means tonight, and tonight only, is that you can purchase 4 of these plus our white label Saleen for the same price. You could only buy 1 Porsche, and by the way, this will beat any Porsche around the Nürburgring racetrack at any given day or night on doing that. So with that, I invite everyone to take a closer look at the vehicles, and certainly come out tomorrow and you can watch them run. I'm going to ask, we do have posters here for everyone. I'm going to set up here in front of the stand some tables and ask the drivers to autograph the posters here in doing that. And then before you leave, we do have some goodie bags for each and every one of you with some memorabilia for tonight. So with that, I certainly want to thank everyone for joining us. I hope you had a good time. I think we even may have some food left, and feel free to ask any question. Thank you.
Well, the problem is,
This metal engine, or build a car, build a car, build the engine.
Unfortunately, don't have the car.
Yeah, I'm going down the track.
No.